forms of communication. That is, all about the barriers we identified. What are the common barriers that generally we encounter or we face when we are talking about communication, or whenever we are discussing about communication with others? What could be the barriers? Then later we discussed about the different letters, the different kind of letters which are generally written by a person who is working in an organization. We discussed approximately 11 kinds of letter. And then we have also identified the basic tips that we have to keep in our mind when we are writing the letter, followed by change that is that is witnessed in the corporate or in the organizational sector. When we talk about the organizations, we have seen that the pen and paper letters are now replaced because of the email. And so the version of writing letters on pen and paper has switched to electronic or email. Later, we discussed about the different types of messages which are pertain to routine or positive or negative or persuasive. We also identified that the information that we share with the people are related to either to advise them or to suggest them, to educate them, to warn them, to motivate them, to persuade them, or to even educate them. And finally, we also discussed about the different types of composition as well as paragraph writing, the importance of these in the life of managers. So today we are going to talk about two different concepts. We are going to discuss in today's class about notice and memo. Now, you all have studied notice writing, isn't it? You all, during your class 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, you were asked to write notice. Probably you might have written notice related to lost or found, certain notices related to summer vacation, or notice related to certain competitions. So even in the life of managers, this is very, very important. And your first assignment is related to notice, wherein you all will have to submit the assignment in which you will be cutting out the different notices from the different newspapers. You can pick up any day's newspaper, look for the notice which is published in the newspaper, and let you need to let me know whether the notice was issued to one single person. So this is the assignment which contains two different parts. One, you have to stick the notice, and the other one is you will have to collect 10 different articles from any newspaper. Language is not a barrier. Please remember, even if you are picking up the articles from Hindi newspaper, I don't mind. But what I want you to do is, after reading the article, after reading the edited version of the news that is published or that was published in the newspaper, you have to identify the message that is delivered in that particular article. Was that, or was it positive or negative or routine message, or it was that persuasive? All right. So anyways, I'm going to share all these details on your class code. The information would be shared within an hour and it is going to reach to your inbox. Meanwhile, I want you all to identify the importance of notice. Why we are discussing about notices. Now, this notice is going to play a very important role in your day to day life once when you are going to step into the shoes of the corporate, once when you are going to start working in any of the organization. When we are talking about notice, you should all remember notices are written. Notices are generally the written or printed announcement. Whenever we have to inform someone, whenever we want to announce something to the other, when the announcement is done in the written form, wherein the information is reaching to good number of people. Say, for example, there can be a notice which could be issued to one single individual. You must have heard the court notices. Whenever the court summon or notify a person, it could be from one person to another individual. But in general, the notice is issued or the notice is written or printed even in the newspaper or in the different forms. Say, for example, when we talk about newspaper, there are e versions of newspaper. So you need to remember there could be website on which notices are issued. So the notice that is written or printed will be informing the information to a large number of people. It is issued so that with one single information or with one single page or with one single announcement, many number of people will come to know about the event that is either happening or had happened. So please remember, whenever we talk about notice, the very first thing that you should get in your mind is it is in written format. So even in future, when you are working in an organization, they may ask you to write notice and notify it to your department member. You may have to write notice and share it with the press media. You may have to write the notice and share it on your website of the company. So when you are asked to write the notice, please remember that the notice that you're going to write will be read by many number of people. A large number of audience is going to read it. So always remember, the notice that you are going to present, the notice that you are going to share must contain facts. Whenever we talk about factual means it must have only the fact. You cannot bluff, you cannot present false statement, you cannot quote anything which is untrue. You have to be very cautious while writing the notice, and you have to present only and only facts, and it has to be to the point. Remember, every time, as I have mentioned many a times, I repeat, I keep saying that business English or a good speaker or a good communicator will always keep his points in very short, simple, and straightforward manner. So therefore you should remember all three S that we have discussed many a time. So the information that you're going to share should be short, should be simple, and should be straightforward. That is what is mentioned in the last point, that you can see that the language that we use should be simple as well as formal. Now, the notice that we write in general will have these five details. In general, you will see on the top the name of the issuing agency, which could be either a school or a college or an institution or an organization. The name of the issuing agency will always be on the top, followed by the term notice and date. Also, you have to remember that date could be mentioned either on the left side or right side. But when we talk about the name of the issuing agency and the term notice, they will be center aligned. I repeat, name of the issuing agency, center aligned, date either left alignment or right alignment. The word notice, again, it would be in center alignment. Then comes the third part, that is title or subject of the event. What is it that you are trying to highlight? What is it that you are trying to notify? What is it that you are trying to bring to the notice of the different people? So the title or the subject of the event will be mentioned below the word notice, followed by the body, wherein you are informing the people about the event or about the things that are happening or will be organized, will be scheduled, or might have scheduled. All right. So you are going to talk about the body, and then finally the authorized signatory, the person whosoever is issuing the notice. We are going to write at the end the name of the person who is issuing the like who is issuing this particular notice along with his or her signature. Now here is a sample wherein you can see the format. This is the way you are going to present the notice. Please remember, whenever you are writing the notice, highlight the word notice and title. This is very, very important. You must highlight the word notice as well as the word that is presenting the title. Whenever we are writing notice, these are certain do's and don'ts that each one of you must keep in your mind. There is a word limit. When I'm talking about the word limit, I'm not talking about the details of the notice. Don't get confused when you start reading the notice in the different newspaper, particularly the notices related to different tenders or the different request for certain items. You should remember that the notice is not those words wherein they are talking about the detail. Notice is the basic word, the keywords, the key statement which talks about what the person has to do. So you should always remember that the word limit that is mentioned or prescribed is only 50. You should not write more than 50 words. Make it as simple and as short as you can. Repetition of any information should be avoided. Reason is very simple. If you are repeating any of the information, what is going to happen? You are using unnecessary words. So avoid repetition. Always remember the notice is written in a box. I don't know how many of you have drawn a box before writing the notice. Your teachers must have asked you, isn't it, to take a pencil and scale and then draw the box and then write the notice inside the box. So you should remember that why the box is drawn. Even in newspaper, you will see all the notices are issued in the box. Why? The reason is very simple: to grab the attention of the reader. If anything is in the box, you will see that your attention will be grabbed very easily, very quickly. So in order to get the attention of the reader, you have to always present the notice and in a particular box. The language that you're going to use should be short, should be simple and crispy. Crispy in the sense, instead of writing a lengthy sentence, try to cut short. Try to present it in a short manner, in a crisp manner. Say, for example, you must have studied number of one-word substitution, isn't it? So instead of writing the detailed sentence, it is appreciated if you can write the one-word substitution of that particular sentence so that the words can be limited, and it has to be always into the point. As I have already stated, highlight the words notice and title because they should grab the attention of the reader. Make sure that your notice is clean, clear and easy to understand. If it is clean, clear, easy to understand, it is going to catch the attention of the reader and it will be also captivating. Please remember, when we talk about just to attract the audience, you cannot furnish, you cannot do not use unnecessary words or sentences. Neither try to question people because it is not a question and answer round wherein people will be answering your statement. So you have to keep people on track. Always remember, these are the 5 question words that you should keep in your mind when you are writing the notice. Whenever you are writing the notice, ask these 5 questions. Answer to these 5 questions will be the body of your notice. I repeat, when you are asking these questions related to what, why, when, where, and who, it will give you the answer. The statements that you're going to draft, the statements that you are going to frame will be or will become the body part of that particular notice. So, what is it that you are trying to mention? Why you want the audience to take necessary action? When, where, and who can participate? So, you should remember the date, venue, time, place are very, very important. So whatever, whenever you are writing the notice, what is the purpose? Why you want to bring it to the attention of the reader? When the event is scheduled, where is it scheduled, and who can be the part of that particular event? So let me give you a real life examples. Say, for example, you're working with one of the organization wherein you are organizing certain event in order to promote or in order to launch your new product. If you're launching a new product, you are going to launch that new product probably in one of the hotels or one of the banquet halls or in one of the community centers or probably in a big ground where there can be a huge gathering. So you have to mention what is the purpose that you are trying to grab the attention of the readers. So why they should attend this particular event? when the event is going to happen, where the event is scheduled, and who can attend this particular event. The moment you are answering these five questions, you will see that automatically you are creating the body part is what, why, when, where, and who. Please remember, the purpose for which the notice is written should be clearly stated. If you are not informing the people in a clear way, you cannot grab the attention. And finally, the presentation and the clarity should be there whenever you are presenting your notice. All right. So let me see whether you people could understand about the notice or not. Now, let us take a quick review of what you have understood. What is the word limit? What is the word limit that was detailed when we are talking about when we are talking about the notice? Whenever we are talking about the notice, what is the word limit that we have to keep in our mind? The word limit that one should keep in mind while drafting the notices. How much is the word limit? What is the word limit that is mentioned? I want you all to write or reply in the chat box. Quickly, I'm waiting for your responses. What is the word limit that is mentioned when you are going to write the notice? Was there any word limit that was mentioned? Very good, Simran. Yes, dear, it is 50 words. And I want everyone to be very active because unless and until you are not going to be active, you cannot revise, right? Thank you, Dayakant Kodar, for giving me that answer. What about the rest? I'm waiting for the reply and answers even from the other candidates. And then please remember, you are not going to chat, you are not going to share the information. It would be difficult for me to understand whether you are really attentive and listening to what is being explained and told to you during the class. All right, I'm still waiting for the response from other three candidates. I'm waiting for the response from Jyotsana. I'm waiting for the response from Ranbir and as well as from Sunny. So I am really looking forward for your reply. Whenever you are asked to share any of the information. All right. So my next question is, what is the first line that we mentioned while writing the notice? Are we going to write the word notice, title, or name of the issuing agency? Notice, title, or name of the issuing agency. What will be written whenever we are writing or when we begin to write a notice? Is it the name of the issuing agency, or the word notice, or the title? Sunny Kumari, you're wrong, dear. If you are writing notice, it would be wrong. Silky, can I get the very good, Simran Kumari? Yes, it is the name of the issuing agency. Say, for example, if you are a student of this institute, what will be the name of the institute? Can I get quickly the information in the chat box? What are you going to write? If you are a student of PGDM first year, and when you are issuing a notice, what is it that you're going to mention on the top while writing the notices? Again, this is the biggest problem that you people always commit while writing the names. Always remember, whenever we are talking about the abbreviation, all the abbreviation should be in capital letter. I stands for international, S stands for school, and M stands for management. M again, small letter will not be acceptable. These are the small errors which you people may ignore, but trust me, when you work in an organization, people will not accept this. Very correctly written by Silky Kumari. Yes, it is ISM Patna. Then where can we write the date? Should it be in center alignment, left alignment, or right alignment? If it is center, write C. If it is left, write L. If it is right, write R. Quickly in the chat box, you can give me your responses. So Farid says left, Simran says left, Sunny Kumari, very true. It could be left or right. Exactly, correct. So, what about the last thing that we are going to mention? What is the way in which we are going to end the notice? What are the two things that will be there at the end of the notice? How do we end up the notice? How do we conclude the notice? How do we finalize and finish off the notice? What is it mentioned at the end of the notice? The response from your side. Signature, Farid Alam rightly stated. It is authorized signatory who's going to mention, who is going to write the name, right? And the authorized signatory will be writing his name along with the role and the designation, right? Can we state wrong or false statement in the notice? Can we state wrong or false statement in the notice? Yes or no? Can we state false statement in the notice? Is it necessary to write the notice in a box? Again, is it necessary to write the notice in a box? Yes or no? Yes, rightly stated, Sunny. Why? Why? Why should we present the notice in the box? Why? Why do you think that it is presented in the box? What is the reason for writing the notice or for presenting the notice in the box? So you have any idea, or do I have to explain it? So please write the sentence in the chat box. To grab the attention of the reader. To grab the attention of the reader. To grab the attention of the reader that we always present the notice in the box so that it can be eye-catching and captivating for the readers to go through the issued notice. All right. As you can see on the presented slide that there are 5 W's. I want you all to at least write it once in the chat box so that you can remember it. That whenever we are writing the notice, these are the 5 W's that we have to always keep in our mind so that we can draft the body of the notice in an appropriate way and in totality. So these are the 5 W's that we have discussed are what, why, when, where, who. What, why, when, where, who. I'll appreciate if you can write down these 5 words in the chat box, each one of you. I can see that many of you are not actively participating. Your active participation will be appreciated. Because of these active participation, even your scores will get improved. I don't know how many of you are aware of this or not. Because of your participation, you are going to score at least 5 marks. So there are points, there are marks for even your regular participation in the chat box. So I don't see the answer from the Fadar of the last 2 questions. Similarly, I'm not finding any answer from Ranbir Rana. About the 5 WH family words, they are and I have clearly stated, which you can see even on the slide that is shared, they are not all the WH family words. Please remember that. So therefore, you should be very particular about which 5 words we are discussing. It is related to what, why, when, where, and who. Okay. So this is all about your notice writing. Now, moving ahead, after notice, the next concept that we are going to discuss today is memorandum. Now, whenever we talk about memorandum, say for example, today is 28th November 2020. Your college has issued a notice on 7th December 2020. There is an event. There can be instances where students, faculty members, staff, or the other member may forget, the one to whom the notice was issued may forget. They may skip the things that are detailed in the notice, may get vanished or may be out of their memory box because it is too long, 28th November to 7th December. So you may tend to forget the things, isn't it? Say, for example, if I have told you something today, whatever your mother has cooked in at your home, the food that you have eaten either in the breakfast or that you're going to have in your lunch, if I ask you on 5th of December or 6th of December or 7th of December, it would be too difficult for you to remember or to recall, isn't it? Similarly, it happens even with the notices. If you have shared a notice, if you have given pretty good time for the people to decide, so what happens many a times, the audience, they tend to forget the news, they tend to forget the information, they tend to forget the instruction. So what is it that we have to keep in our mind whenever we are issuing the notice? We issue a memo. We issue a memo to remind people about the notice. Therefore, memos are also called as reminders. It is also it is also sharing the remembrance of that particular information. The word memorandum, in short, which is called as memo. The word memorandum. I hope everybody must have seen this word on your mark sheet, isn't it? How many of you have studied from CBSE board or BSEB board? Quickly in the chat box. What was your board in your class 10th and 12th? Was that CBSE or BSEB? Can you please share some of your details? Was that CBSE or BSEB? Thank you, Farid, for sharing that information. Thanks, Simran, for giving me the answer. So, what about the rest? Thank you, Silky, for again sharing that information. But please remember that whenever you are going to check or when you look for your marks, when you are checking your marks, you will see that on the top it would be mentioned memorandum of mark or memorandum of mark sheet. Now, the memorandum or the memo is, in fact, a reminder, isn't it? Now, whatever you people have secured in your class 10th, after 10 days, after 20 days, if it is orally, if it is verbally communicated, wherein they told you orally that in your class 10th, in your subject like mathematics, you secured 60, in science, you secured 90, in social studies, you might have secured 74. And if this is not written on a paper, if this is not given in the printed form, and if they just give you an oral dictation or in the oral way, if any of your teacher might have communicated, what happens? You will remember it for a week, you will have to note it down, and later after 5 years or 10 years or maybe after 10 to 20 years, when somebody is asking you what about your marks in your class 10, you will have no record of it at all, isn't it? So to remind you what was your score in your class 10th, you have the memorandum of marks, isn't it? That memo is a remembrance, that memo is a reminder of what you have secured, what you have obtained, what you have scored during your class 10th or 12th or even during your graduation. So please remember, this word memorandum is derived from the Latin word which means memorar, to remember. Now, when we talk about memos, memos are not issued to the common public. When we talk about notices, notices can be issued to the common public in large, like at large. We can share the notice with a huge crowd. Whereas whenever we are talking about memos, memos are issued to the internal members. Say, for example, you're working in an organization, you're working in finance department, your friend is working in marketing department, you both have to attend that meeting. So there is a notice that is issued on 28th. After some days they will issue a memo to remind you, to make you remember that there is this particular meeting to be held on 7th December. So from one person to other person, from one branch to other branch, from one department to other branch, a memo could be issued. So keep this in your mind, it is purely internal, it is completely internal. It is not external, unlike the notice. Notice could be internal as well as external. Now, can I come to know from your side, if I am issuing a notice to declare holiday for the students of ISM Patna, will you call it as internal or external? Quickly. Holiday declared to the students of ISM Patna. External? Why will you call it as external, Simran? Your answer is wrong. You are a part of ISM, isn't it? It is only meant for the students. You are family of ISM, isn't it? And it is internal because you are also part of International School of Management as a teacher. Even I'm the part of ISM. So we all are sharing the information internally. But if the state government, if the state government they all are internal members, rightly stated here. So therefore, this kind of information would be considered as internal. The notice that is issued by ISM Patna for the students of ISM Patna or for the teachers and staff of ISM Patna is internal. But if there is a notice that is issued by the government of Bihar, wherein a band is declared, a band is declared throughout the state. Will you call this particular notice as internal or external? Quickly, I'm waiting for your responses. Internal or external? Declaration of Band, Bihar Band. Yes, Silky, it is external. Quickly, I want to get the response from everyone. Let me see how quick you people are giving me the responses. So the next question is, the next question to you all. You are working in an organization and you are writing a notice from your organization to the other members of the same organization. What kind of notice it would be? Internal or external? You're working in the same organization, you're sharing the information within the organization, in the same boundaries of the organization, but to the other department members. Yes, Simran, it is internal. And when you are sharing the notice from your organization to some other organization, from your organization to some other organization, rightly stated, Simran, it would be external. So whenever you are sharing the notices, because it is shared with a time span of 1 week or 10 days, people may tend to forget. So, what is it that we issue in order to make people remember or to remind people about the information? We issue a dash. What is it that you are going to issue to make people remember? Very good, Simran. Yes, it is memorandum. Memorandum, in short, it is also known as memorandum. In short, is also known as quickly. Very good. Memos. Now there are different names. There can be different name for this particular word memo. People do call it as circulars. It is also called as spiral. So don't get confused. If in some organizations it is called as circular, issue the circular. Whenever somebody says issue the circular, you should immediately remember, okay, fine, they are talking about memo. So similarly, if somebody is talking about what about the spiral communication, have you circulated the same? So don't get confused. Again, they are talking about memo. So this memo is having two other names. One is circular and the other one is spiral. These days, because of the technology, we can share the letters, we can share the notices, we can share even the memos quickly through email. Please remember, the points that you have to always remember is the information that you are sharing should be very clearly identified and should be well drafted so that the person can instantly come to know what is it that you are trying to convey through that particular memo. And also remember, whenever you are sharing the memo, minimum time period should be of 48 hours to 24 hours. Say, for example, if you are issuing a memo of an event which is going to start in next 20 minutes or 30 minutes or half an hour or an hour, that is not going to solve the purpose. So always make sure that the memo reaches to the concerned people in the due time. When I say due time, what is the desirable due time? 24 hours to 48 hours. That is 1 day gap or 2 days gap. All right. So here is the format. This is the last slide that I want everybody to understand and keep this in your memory. Whenever we are talking about a memo will always have the name of the issuing authority. It will be inter-office memo because it is sharing or it is shared among the departmental members or from one branch to the other branch, from one person to the other person. It is inter-office memo. The date will be mentioned on the top, followed by to, then comes from, then the reference. I want everybody to understand how do we write a reference, because these are very, very important things. And in different organizations, they are going to check whether you know how to include the references or not. The name of the issuing authority, that is the name of the organization, will always come initially, followed by the department. Say, for example, here it is principal's office. If you're working in finance office, finance department, it would be FD. If it is in IT department, it would be ITT. If it is an HR department, then it would be HRD. If it is marketing department, it would be MD. So keep this in your mind that ISMP is the name of the issuing organization, followed by the department, then in which year this particular memo is issued, and what is the number. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The subject line is mentioned and followed by the message that you are trying to convey, the information that you are trying to remind and make people remember. All right, that's all in today's class. I hope everybody got the clarity related to two internal communication, right? One is related to the memo and the other one was related to notice writing. In case if you have any doubt, don't hesitate in asking and clearing your doubts. If you have any doubts, I am ready to clear it. So I get the thanks from Farid Alam saying that he has no doubt. I'll appreciate if you can really come up with your doubts, dear. Thank you, Silky, for giving me that confirmation that you have no doubts. Uh, okay. Thank you, Prashant. Thanks, Simran. I did not get any information in the chat box from Mr. Ranbir Rana. So, should I mark Ranbir absent? Because I did
No,
not get
ma'am,
any
I'm here.
information from your side. So, if you are
Yeah, yeah.
there, I
I'm
did
present,
not
ma'am.
see you chatting. What? How will I consider you as present? Because I see you just listening. You're not an audience for me. You are a student. And when you're a student, I will appreciate if you can really share the information that is asked, isn't it? I will really appreciate, and I expect that every one of you are too active in the chat box, because that will make me understand that yes, students are listening. They are syncing with my thoughts, with my speech. All right, beta, please make sure that from next time, even you should give me the responses via chat box. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourself. God bless you all.